before Bruce Willis became Hollywood's unyielding hero, before John McClane limped barefoot across broken glass and redefined the action genre. He was just a fragile boy caught in storms he never chose. Born on a freezing March day in 1955 in Idar Oberstein, West Germany, to a German mother and an American soldier father, Bruce's earliest memories were painted in the gray austerity of post-war Europe. In 1957, at just 2 years old, the family left the barracks of Germany for the uncertain promise of New Jersey. But the American dream was more mirage than miracle. Money was scarce. His father's drinking cast long shadows. And by his early teens, his parents' marriage had fractured completely. As the eldest of 4, Bruce carried the unspoken duty to shield his siblings, even as he fought battles no one could see. Chief among them was a severe stutter that made every sentence feel like walking barefoot across broken glass. Playground taunts branded him Buck Buck, a cruel nickname that clung to him like a scar. Trouble became both shield and snare. Schoolyard fights, defiance of authority, and at 19, an arrest for carrying marijuana. Yet beneath the armor of rebellion was a hunger, almost desperation, to prove he was more than the sum of his scars. Salvation came unexpectedly under the harsh glare of a high school stage light. At 17, Bruce discovered something miraculous when he acted. The stutter dissolved. His voice flowed steady and clear. For the first time in his life, words obeyed him. Acting became not just performance, but defiance, a way to reclaim what life had tried to steal. By 18, those fragile victories laid the first stones of a road that would lead far beyond the working-class streets of New Jersey. Though the wounds of his early years never truly healed, they forged in him a resilience that would one day define him. The will to keep standing when life tried to knock him down, the courage to fight battles both seen and unseen, and the unshakable truth that a voice once stolen can, against all odds, be found again. By the mid-1980s, Bruce Willis was still hustling through the streets of New York, pouring drinks by night and chasing auditions by day. The dream of acting was fragile, but his stubbornness was unshakable. Every rejection was another scar, every small role another rehearsal for something bigger. Then came moonlighting. In 1985, Bruce fought through more than 3,000 hopefuls for the role of David Addison, a wisecracking private detective whose charm and irreverence seemed carved from Bruce's own DNA. The odds were impossible, but the role fit him like a second skin. His smirk, his swagger, his refusal to play by the rules, it all clicked. Audiences loved him. The bartender was gone. In his place stood a star, clutching an Emmy and a Golden Globe. Moonlighting wasn't just a show, it was a phenomenon. Bruce Willis had arrived. But television stardom was a fragile crown. Hollywood was watching, skeptical that the brash newcomer could leap from small screen to silver screen. The gamble came in 1988 with a script called Die Hard. John McClane was unlike any action hero before him. He wasn't a superhero. He bled. He stumbled. He fought with desperation etched into every move. The studio doubted him. Critics scoffed. But when audiences saw him limping barefoot across broken glass, they saw something new, a hero who was human. Die Hard exploded at the box office, redefining the genre and propelling Bruce Willis into Hollywood's stratosphere. His paycheck soared to $5 million, a headline making some at the time. Overnight, he became one of the most bankable stars in the world. Yet Bruce knew the climb to the top was shorter than the fall back down. Fame was fickle, and the 1990s would test him in ways no script could prepare for. The 1990s were Bruce Willis's crucible. He had conquered television with Moonlighting and redefined action cinema with Die Hard. But Hollywood is a kingdom that crowns and crucifies in equal measure. He proved his versatility early in the decade. Look Who's Talking showcased his comedic timing, while Death Becomes Her revealed his willingness to play against type. Then came Pulp Fiction in 1994, Quentin Tarantino's masterpiece that resurrected Bruce as a washed-up boxer with grit in his veins. It was a role that reminded audiences he was more than explosions and one-liners. He was an actor capable of depth, menace, and vulnerability. Blockbusters followed. Armageddon in 1998 cemented him as the everyman hero, the father willing to sacrifice himself to save the world. And in 1999, The Sixth Sense delivered one of his most haunting performances. As Dr. Malcolm Crowe, Bruce shed the bravado, embodying quiet sorrow and broken humanity. The film earned $672 million worldwide and proved that beneath the smirk was an actor of profound subtlety. Yet the decade was also littered with brutal failures. Hudson Hawk was mocked, Color of Night faltered, and critics began to question whether Willis was more luck than talent. The press sharpened their knives, eager to declare his reign over. But Bruce had been underestimated before. He had been the stuttering boy mocked as Buck, the bartender dismissed as a dreamer. Failure was not foreign to him. It was fuel. Each flop became another scar in the armor he had been building since childhood. By the end of the 1990s, Bruce Willis was no longer just John McClane. He was a paradox, an action star who bled, a comedian who could brood, a flawed man who kept standing even when critics tried to knock him down. His career was not a straight climb, but a jagged ascent, carved by risk, ridicule, and redemption. And in that jaggedness lay his power. Bruce Willis was not perfect, he was human. And that humanity made him unforgettable. The dawn of the 2000s brought Bruce Willis into a new arena. He was no longer just the wisecracking detective of Moonlighting or the everyman hero of Die Hard. He was a veteran actor navigating the shifting tides of Hollywood, where franchises rose and fell, and audiences demanded reinvention. Blockbusters remained his anchor. The whole 9 yards 2000 showcased his comedic timing alongside Matthew Perry, proving that even after decades of action, Bruce could still surprise with levity. Tears of the Sun, 2003 brought him back to grit, portraying a Navy SEAL haunted by duty and morality. And Live Free or Die Hard, 2007, reminded the world that John McClane was still unbreakable, even in the digital age. But Bruce was never content to stay in one lane. He ventured into indie films, lending his star power to projects that might otherwise have gone unnoticed. Sin City, 2005, revealed a darker, stylized side of him, as Hartigan, the weary cop fighting corruption in a world drenched in noir. Alpha Dog and Lucky Number 11 showed his willingness to play supporting roles, to let younger actors shine while he added gravitas. Yet shadows began to creep in. The relentless pace of filming, the physical toll of action roles, and the quiet battles off-screen started to weigh on him. Critics noted uneven performances, and whispers of fatigue followed him. Still, Bruce pressed forward, embodying the same resilience that had carried him from stuttering boy to Hollywood titan. The 2000s were not just about maintaining stardom, they were about proving longevity. Bruce Willis was no longer the newcomer defying odds. He was the seasoned warrior, scarred but still standing, reminding the world that true heroes are not defined by perfection, but by persistence. The 2010s brought Bruce Willis into a new chapter, one defined not only by the glare of blockbuster lights, but by the shadows that began to gather behind them. He returned to familiar ground with Red, 2010, proving that even in his mid-50s, his wit and grit could still electrify audiences. Looper, 2012, showcased his range, pairing him with Joseph Gordon-Levitt in a time-bending thriller that reminded critics of the depth he could summon when given the right script. And A Good Day to Die Hard, 2013 kept John McClane alive, though critics noted the weariness in his eyes, the weight of years pressing against the once unyielding hero. But alongside these triumphs came a wave of direct-to-video releases, films that critics dismissed, projects that seemed beneath the man who had once redefined action cinema. The press sharpened its knives, questioning whether Bruce was chasing paychecks rather than passion. Yet those who knew him understood he was fighting battles unseen, battles that demanded endurance far beyond the screen. Whispers of fatigue grew louder. On set, colleagues noticed moments of hesitation, lines forgotten, a quiet struggle that seemed out of place for the man who had once carried entire franchises on his shoulders. The signs were subtle at first, easy to dismiss as age or exhaustion, but they were the early tremors of a storm that would one day redefine his legacy. Still, Bruce pressed forward. He had been underestimated before. He had been the boy mocked for his stutter, the bartender dismissed as a dreamer, the actor doubted by studios. Survival was his art, resilience his creed. And even as shadows lengthened, he kept standing, kept working, kept fighting to give audiences the hero they had always believed in. The 2010s were not about glory, they were about grit. Bruce Willis was no longer the invincible John McClane. He was a man scarred by time, carrying battles both seen and unseen. And in that humanity lay his greatest strength, the courage to keep showing up, even when the world began to wonder if he could still endure. By the early 2020s, the whispers had grown into truth. The fatigue, the forgotten lines, the quiet hesitations that colleagues had noticed for years were no longer just signs of age. They were symptoms of something far more devastating. In 2022, Bruce Willis's family revealed what the world had feared. He was stepping away from acting after being diagnosed with aphasia, a condition that robs a person of language, memory, and communication. For a man whose entire life had been built on words, on the smirk, the one-liner, the defiant shout of yippee-ki-yay, it was a cruel irony. The boy who had once fought a stutter to reclaim his voice, the actor who had turned that voice into legend, was now losing it piece by piece. Fans across the globe mourned, not just for the end of his career, but for the invisible battle he now faced. Tributes poured in, celebrating the decades of grit, charisma, and humanity he had given to the screen. His family, his wife Emma, his ex-wife Demi Moore, and his daughters, closed ranks around him, choosing love and solidarity over silence. They shared glimpses of his life away from Hollywood, afternoons in the garden, laughter with grandchildren, quiet moments of music and prayer. In 2023, the diagnosis deepened. Bruce was confirmed to be battling frontotemporal dementia, a ruthless condition that erases memory, language, and independence. The man who had once saved the world on screen could no longer save himself. Yet even in this cruelest chapter, his legacy remained untouchable. Bruce Willis had spent a lifetime proving that heroes are not invincible, they are human. They bleed, they stumble, they endure. And now, in his silence, he continues to teach us that true strength is not in the fight, but in the grace with which one faces battles that cannot be won. Bruce Willis's story is not only about the roles he played, it is about the resilience he embodied. For over 4 decades, he gave audiences heroes who bled, laughed, stumbled, and fought with human desperation. He was never the invincible superhero. He was the flawed everyman who kept standing when the odds said he shouldn't. From Moonlighting to Die Hard, from Pulp Fiction to The Sixth Sense, his career carved a new definition of masculinity on screen, one that allowed vulnerability to coexist with strength. He showed the world that courage is not the absence of fear, but the decision to keep moving through it. Off-screen, his legacy is equally profound. He raised 5 daughters, built a blended family rooted in love and solidarity, and faced his diagnosis with dignity. His wife Emma, his ex-wife Demi Moore, and his children became his fortress, proving that true heroism is not found in explosions or box office numbers, but in the bonds that endure when everything else fades. Fans across the globe continue to celebrate him, not only for the unforgettable one-liners and iconic roles, but for the humanity he brought to every performance. Bruce Willis taught us that heroes are not perfect, they are persistent. They fall, they bleed, they lose, but they rise again. And now, as he faces the silent battle of dementia, his legacy shines brighter than ever. He reminds us that strength is not measured in how loudly we fight, but in how gracefully we endure. Bruce Willis is more than Hollywood's action star. He is a symbol of grit, humor, and humanity. A hero whose greatest role was not John McClane, but Bruce himself. For a man who had spent his life running through fire, leaping from explosions, and outwitting villains, Bruce Willis's greatest battle arrived not on screen, but in silence. Aphasia and frontotemporal dementia became enemies no stunt double could defeat, no script could rewrite. The man who once embodied resilience now faced a foe that stripped away the very essence of his craft, his voice, his memory, his independence. And yet, even in decline, Bruce's story remains one of endurance. His family became his fortress. Emma Heming Willis, his wife, stood as his advocate, raising awareness for FTD and reminding the world that behind the diagnosis was still the man she loved. Demi Moore, his former wife, and their daughters, Rumor, Scout, and Talula, closed ranks, proving that love can outlast divorce, fame, and even disease. Together, they created a circle of care, ensuring Bruce's days were filled with familiar faces, laughter, and the warmth of home. Fans across the globe, stunned by the news, responded with an outpouring of gratitude. They remembered the smirk, the one-liners, the grit of John McClane, the quiet sorrow of The Sixth Sense, the swagger of Pulp Fiction. They remembered the boy from New Jersey who fought a stutter to find his voice, and the man who carried that voice into legend. Bruce Willis's final fight is not about winning. It is about grace. It is about showing the world that even when strength fades, love endures. That even when words are lost, presence speaks louder. That even when the hero cannot save himself, his story can still save others, by teaching them that resilience is not about invincibility, but about facing the unthinkable with dignity. In the end, Bruce Willis remains what he has always been, a fighter. Not because he conquers every battle, but because he refuses to surrender the light of who he is. His legacy is not just in the films that will play for generations, but in the love that surrounds him now, in the family that holds him close, and in the millions who carry his story as proof that even heroes are human, and that humanity is the greatest strength of all. Bruce Willis's journey is not defined by the disease that now shadows him, but by the decades of light he gave the world. His legacy is etched into cinema, into family, and into the millions of hearts that found courage in his story. On screen, he redefined the action hero. John McClane was not invincible. He bled, he stumbled, he fought with desperation. That humanity made him unforgettable. In Pulp Fiction, he proved he could gamble everything for art. In The Sixth Sense, he revealed a quiet vulnerability that stunned audiences. Across more than 100 films, Bruce Willis became not just a star, but a storyteller of grit, humor, and endurance. Off-screen, his greatest role was father. His daughters, Rumor, Scout, Talula, Mabel, and Evelyn, remain his living legacy, proof that love outlasts fame. His blended family, united in care and compassion, shows the world that devotion can survive divorce, distance, and even disease. His fans, too, carry his legacy. Every cheer for McClane's defiance, every tear shed for Dr. Crow's sorrow, every laugh at his smirk is part of the collective memory he leaves behind. Bruce Willis taught us that heroes are not perfect, they are persistent. They fall, they bleed, they lose, but they rise again. And now, as he faces the silent battle of dementia, his legacy shines brighter than ever. He reminds us that strength is not measured in how loudly we fight, but in how gracefully we endure. Bruce Willis is more than Hollywood's action star. He is a monument of resilience, a man who turned scars into steel, silence into story, and humanity into heroism. His flame will not fade. It will echo, eternal, in every film, every family memory, and every soul he inspired to keep standing when life tried to knock them down. Bruce Willis's life has always been a paradox, the fragile boy who stuttered, the bartender who dreamed, the actor who bled on screen yet stood taller than giants. His journey was never about perfection, it was about persistence. And now, as he faces the silent battle of dementia, his story has become something greater than cinema. It has become testimony. The man who once shouted defiance from skyscrapers now whispers through the presence of his family. The hero who once saved the world now finds salvation in the laughter of his daughters, the touch of his wife's hand, the solidarity of a blended family that chose love over division. His greatest role is no longer John McClane. It is Bruce himself, enduring with dignity, teaching the world that even when words fade, love speaks louder. Hollywood will remember him for the smirk, the one-liners, the grit. But those who truly know his story will remember him for the armor he built from rejection, the resilience he carried through failure, and the grace with which he now faces decline. His legacy is not just in films. It is in the millions who found courage in his humanity, who saw themselves in his flawed heroes, who learned that strength is not invincibility but endurance. And so, the benediction of Bruce Willis's life is this: heroes are human, and humanity is the greatest strength of all. His flame, though dimmed by illness, will never be extinguished. It will echo in every film, every memory, every soul he inspired to keep standing when life tried to knock them down. Bruce Willis remains what he has always been, a fighter, not because he wins every battle, but because he refuses to surrender the light of who he is. When the lights of Hollywood dimmed and the script stopped arriving, Bruce Willis found himself surrounded by something far more enduring than fame: family. In the face of aphasia and dementia, his loved ones became his fortress, shielding him from the harshness of decline and reminding the world that even heroes need saving. His wife, Emma Heming Willis, stepped into the role of advocate and guardian. She spoke openly about his condition, raising awareness for frontotemporal dementia, ensuring that Bruce's struggle was not hidden in silence, but transformed into a beacon for others facing the same battle. Her devotion was not just partnership. It was proof that love can be both shield and sword. Demi Moore, his former wife, remained close, a rare grace in Hollywood's world of fractured families. Together with their daughters, Rumor, Scout, and Tallulah, they formed a circle of care, united not by obligation but by love. His younger daughters, Mabel and Evelyn, brought innocence and laughter into his days, reminding him of the joy that still lived in the present moment. Family gatherings became sacred rituals. Holidays filled with music, shared meals, and laughter were no longer about glamour but about presence. Photographs showed Bruce smiling, holding hands, leaning into the warmth of those who refused to let him face the darkness alone. For Bruce, the family fortress was more than comfort, it was salvation. The man who had once saved the world on screen now found his world saved by the people who loved him most. Their devotion turned decline into dignity, proving that even when memory fades, love endures. When the news of Bruce Willis's diagnosis broke, it was not just Hollywood that paused, it was the world. For decades, audiences had laughed at his smirk, gasped at his grit, and wept at his quiet vulnerability. He was more than an actor. He was a companion to millions of lives, a presence that carried people through their own battles with humor, courage, and humanity. Fans responded not with pity, but with gratitude. Social media became a chorus of memories, the first time they saw Die Hard in a crowded theater, the moment The Sixth Sense left them speechless, the thrill of his swagger in Pulp Fiction. Each story was a testament to the way Bruce's work had seeped into the fabric of everyday life. Tributes poured in from every corner of the globe. Murals appeared in cities, fan screenings of his films became celebrations of resilience, and countless posts echoed the same sentiment. Bruce Willis taught us that heroes are human, and that humanity is what makes them unforgettable. For many, his decline felt personal. They had grown up with him, carried his one-liners into their own lives, found courage in his flawed but unyielding characters. And now, as he faced a battle no script could rewrite, fans stood beside him, not in theaters but in spirit. The farewell was not an ending. It was a promise. A promise that his films would continue to play, his voice would continue to echo, and his legacy would continue to inspire. Bruce Willis may no longer command the screen, but he commands something greater, the enduring love of millions who will never forget the way he made them feel. Bruce Willis's life is more than a filmography. It is a monument to resilience. He was never just the wisecracking detective or the barefoot cop bleeding across broken glass. He was the boy who fought a stutter to find his voice, the man who built armor from rejection, and the father who carried love through every fracture of fame. Hollywood will remember him for the roles: John McClane's grit, Butch's defiance in Pulp Fiction, Malcolm Crow's quiet sorrow in The Sixth Sense. But beyond the screen, Bruce became something rarer, a symbol of endurance. He showed the world that strength is not about invincibility, but about persistence. That scars can become steel and silence can carry as much weight as words. His monument is not carved in stone, but in memory. It lives in the millions who cheered his victories, who carried his one-liners into their own lives, who found courage in his flawed but unyielding heroes. It lives in his family, who surround him now with devotion, proving that love is the truest fortress. Bruce Willis is not just a star. He is a human monument, built from struggle, lit by charisma and sustained by love. His story reminds us that even when the curtain falls, the echo of resilience endures. Bruce Willis's journey reminds us that even when a voice is silenced, its echo can endure. His films continue to play across generations, introducing new audiences to the grit of John McClane, the haunted sorrow of Malcolm Crowe, the swagger of Butch Coolidge. Each performance is a torch, passed from one viewer to the next, carrying his spirit forward long after the cameras have stopped rolling. But the torch is not only cinematic, it is personal. His daughters carry it in their laughter, their memories, their devotion. Rumor, Scout, Tallulah, Mabel, and Evelyn embody the love that defined him, ensuring that the essence of Bruce Willis lives on in the way they speak of him, care for him, and honor his legacy. Demi Moore and Emma Heming Willis, united in grace, have shown the world that family can be stronger than circumstance, that love can bridge even the cruelest divides. Fans, too, carry the torch. Every whispered yippee-ki-yay, every harmonica riff remembered, every smile at his smirk is a spark of his enduring presence. In living rooms, theaters, and hearts across the globe, Bruce Willis remains alive, not as a patient defined by illness, but as a hero defined by resilience. The torch he passes is not about invincibility. It is about humanity. It is about teaching us that scars can become steel, that silence can still speak, that love is the only force unbreakable. And so, Bruce Willis's legacy is not fading, it is multiplying. In his family, in his fans, in the generations yet to discover his films, the flame burns on. The man who once fought impossible odds on screen has given us something greater, the courage to face our own battles with grace, and the reminder that even when the body falters, the spirit can remain eternal. Bruce Willis's story does not end with silence. It endures, carried forward by the films that will play for generations, by the family who surrounds him with unshakable love, and by the millions of fans who refuse to let his light fade. His legacy is not bound to the disease that now shadows him. It is bound to the fire he lit in the hearts of those who watched him fight, laugh, and endure. Every time Die Hard flickers across a screen, every time The Sixth Sense leaves a viewer breathless, every time his harmonica riffs echo in memory, Bruce lives again. His flame burns in the resilience of his daughters, in Emma's advocacy, in Demi's enduring friendship, and in the countless tributes from fans who grew up believing in the impossible because he showed them how. The eternal flame of Bruce Willis is not cinematic spectacle, it is human truth. It is the reminder that heroes are not defined by invincibility, but by the courage to keep standing when life tries to knock them down. It is the proof that love can outlast memory, that presence can matter more than words, and that even in decline, dignity can shine brighter than any spotlight. Bruce Willis remains unbreakable, not because he conquered every battle, but because he taught us that the measure of a hero is how he faces the battles no one else can fight for him. His flame, though quieter now, will never be extinguished. It will live on, in cinema, in family, in the collective memory of all who were touched by his story. Bruce Willis's influence has never been confined to Hollywood. His story, of resilience, grit, and humanity, has echoed across cultures and generations, transcending language and geography. From the neon lights of Tokyo to the bustling streets of Mumbai, from the cinemas of Paris to the living rooms of small towns in America, his films became universal touchstones. Die Hard was not just an American action film, it was a global phenomenon. Audiences everywhere saw themselves in John McClane, flawed, vulnerable, yet unyielding. His smirk, his defiance, his refusal to surrender resonated with people who had never set foot in New York but understood the fight to endure. The Sixth Sense left viewers worldwide breathless, proving that Bruce could move hearts as powerfully as he thrilled them. In Europe, he became a symbol of the modern anti-hero. In Asia, his films were celebrated for their raw humanity. In Africa and Latin America, his characters embodied the universal struggle against impossible odds. Wherever his movies played, audiences found pieces of themselves reflected in his performances. And now, as he faces the silent battle of dementia, the global echo has grown louder. Fans across continents share tributes, murals, screenings, and memories. They speak not only of the roles he played, but of the lessons he taught, that strength is not invincibility, but persistence, that love can outlast memory, that humanity is the greatest heroism of all. Bruce Willis is no longer just Hollywood's unbreakable hero. He is a global symbol of resilience, a reminder that even when words fade, the stories we tell and the love we carry can echo forever. Every story has its final act, and for Bruce Willis, it is unfolding not on a movie set but within the quiet walls of home. The applause has faded, the cameras have gone dark, yet the essence of his journey remains illuminated by love. The closing curtain is not tragedy, it is truth. It is the reminder that even legends must one day step away from the stage, that even heroes cannot outrun time. For Bruce, this chapter is not about box office triumphs or critical acclaim. It is about presence. About the squeeze of a daughter's hand, the warmth of sunlight on his face, the laughter that still fills his home. His family has become the audience now, cherishing every moment, every flicker of recognition, every smile that breaks through the fog. And in those moments, Bruce is not an icon, not a patient, but simply a man loved beyond measure. The world outside remembers him as John McClane, Butch Coolidge, Malcolm Crowe. But inside, he is remembered for pancakes on Sunday mornings, harmonica riffs in smoky bars, and the way his laughter could fill a room. The curtain may be falling, but the story is not ending. It is transforming into memory, into legacy, into the eternal flame of a life lived fully. Bruce Willis's closing curtain is not silence. It is a standing ovation carried by family, fans, and generations who will never forget the man who taught us that heroes are human and humanity is unbreakable. Memory is fragile, yet it is also eternal. For Bruce Willis, whose own memories are being slowly stolen by frontotemporal dementia, the benediction lies not in what he can recall, but in what the world remembers for him. His life has become a tapestry woven from countless threads, family moments, cinematic triumphs, and the quiet resilience that defined him. His daughters carry his memory in their laughter, in the stories they tell, in the way they speak of him with reverence and love. His wife, Emma, steadfast and unyielding, ensures that his legacy is not diminished by illness but illuminated by advocacy and devotion. Demi Moore, his lifelong friend, and the blended family they built together, embody a rare grace that keeps his presence alive in every shared holiday, every photograph, every whispered recollection. Fans, too, are keepers of his memory. They replay his films, quote his lines, and share their own stories of how Bruce's characters gave them courage, humor, or hope. In their collective remembrance, he remains unbreakable. The benediction of Bruce Willis's life is this: though disease may erase words and recognition, it cannot erase love. It cannot erase the impact of a man who turned scars into steel, silence into story, and humanity into heroism. His memory now belongs to all of us, to his family, his fans, and the generations who will continue to discover him. And so, Bruce Willis endures. Not in the fragile corridors of his own mind, but in the eternal archive of love and legacy. His story is proof that while time may dim the body, memory, shared, cherished, and carried forward, remains indestructible. Bruce Willis's life has become more than a collection of films. It is a living archive, preserved in memory, family, and culture. His story is carried forward not only by reels of celluloid, but by the people who loved him, the audiences who cheered him, and the generations who will continue to discover him. Every film is a chapter in that archive. Die Hard remains a holiday ritual for millions, its heroism replayed year after year. The Sixth Sense continues to astonish new viewers, proving that Bruce's quiet vulnerability can still pierce hearts decades later. Pulp Fiction endures as a testament to his willingness to gamble everything for art. Together, these works form a library of resilience, humor, and humanity. But the archive is not only cinematic, it is personal. His daughters carry his laughter, his wisdom, his tenderness into their own lives. His wife Emma and Demi Moore, united in devotion, ensure that his legacy is not diminished by illness but magnified by love. Fans across the globe contribute to this archive too, sharing stories, murals, screenings, and tributes that keep his presence alive in collective memory. The living archive of Bruce Willis is proof that a life cannot be erased by disease or time. It is proof that love, art, and resilience can outlast decline. His story is now ours to carry, ours to preserve, ours to pass on. Bruce Willis is not gone. He is archived in the hearts of millions, in the films that will never fade, and in the love that surrounds him still. His legacy is not static. It is alive, breathing, and eternal. Bruce Willis's life is a testament to resilience. From the boy who fought a stutter to the man who became Hollywood's everyman hero, his journey was never about perfection. It was about persistence. He stumbled, he rose, he endured. And in doing so, he gave the world characters that bled, laughed, and fought with the same flawed humanity we all carry. Now, as he faces the silent battle of dementia, his story has shifted from spectacle to essence. The cameras are gone, but the love remains. His family surrounds him, his fans honor him, and his films continue to echo across generations. The disease may take words, recognition, and movement, but it cannot take the legacy of a man who taught us that strength is not invincibility, it is endurance. Bruce Willis remains unbreakable, not because he conquered every battle, but because he faced them with courage, humor, and grace. His flame will never be extinguished. It burns in the laughter of his daughters, in the devotion of his wife, in the solidarity of his blended family, and in the millions of hearts that still carry his story. The final truth of Bruce Willis's life is simple yet profound. Heroes are human, and humanity is the greatest strength of all. His legacy is eternal, his memory indestructible, his love unshaken. And so the curtain falls, not in silence, but in ovation. Bruce Willis, the fighter, the father, the legend, will forever remain unbreakable.